Good morning, children. Sairam. Now, children, we are going to do the first lesson of your value education, that is Puran Polya. But before I move into this, let's understand what value education is and how important it is. Value education helps the students to become more responsible and sensible. It helps them to understand the perspective of life in a better way and lead a successful life as responsible citizens. It helps the students to develop strong relationship with family and friends. In a way, value education helps students imbibe moral and spiritual values. Now, in this lesson, Puran Polya, we come to understand the place the guru has or a teacher has in a person's life. Now, let's come to the lesson. Every day during his morning walks, Eknathji used to see an old poor Brahmin lady standing on the wayside with her young son. She would do pranams, offer obeisances, and the saint would bless her. Now, during his morning walks, Eknathji used to see a poor Brahmin lady. Okay, she was standing on the wayside and she had a son, a young son. Okay, so as Eknathji used to go on his walks, this lady would be there and she would offer him pranams. Okay, and our saint Eknathji used to bless her. One day, the lady told Saint Eknath Maharaj, "My son is a brat. He is lazy and clumsy." Even the other passerby said that the boy must be surely having some mental problems. Okay, so on one such walk, one day, the lady came to Saint Eknath and told him that her son is a brat, he's a lazy fellow, he's awkward, he's clumsy, and the other, people who pass by also, told that this boy must actually be having some mental problems. The woman pleaded with Eknathji, "I can't feed him. We are poor. I will be grateful if you could give him food and shelter in your ashram." So this woman pleaded with Eknathji. Okay, she was poor, that she was not able to feed him, and she would be very well grateful if the saint could take him, offer him food and also shelter in his ashram. The boy was reluctant to leave his mother. He held the end of her sari and cried bitterly. Okay, so the boy actually did not want to leave his mother. Okay, he held on to the end of a sari. Okay, and he cried bitterly. Okay, because he did not want to leave his mother. Eknathji understood from someone that the boy loved Puran Poli. That is, all of you children know what Puran Poli is, isn't it? Okay, that is roti or leavened bread with a delicious sweet and filling. Okay, the saint softly touched and patted the boy and said, "I will give you Puran Poli every day. You will love it." The youngster was delighted. "Many, many," he said. "Many," said the saint in reply. Okay, so Eknathji came to know that this boy loved Puran Poli. Okay, and what did the saint do? He softly touched and patted the boy and told him that he will give him Puran Poli every day. Okay, and of course the child was very happy because it loved Puran Poli. Okay, Eknathji took the boy with him to his hermitage as promised. Okay, so Eknathji took this boy, okay, to his hermitage. Okay, so as promised, he fed him with Puran Poli that day. Day after day, Whenever the boy demanded, the saint not only fed him with Puran Poli, but also began to infuse in the child the sublime teachings of the Vedas, Vedanta, meditation, Shraddha, faith and devotion, and Bhakti, devotion. So, the first day, of course, when Eknathji took the boy to his hermitage, he fed him Puran Poli, and whenever the boy used to ask him, the saint, fed him with Puran Poli. But at the same time, he began to infuse in him, instill in the child, the teachings of Vedas, Vedantas, okay, meditation, Shraddha and Bhakti. Okay. But the fellow disciples of the boy always teased and taunted him. Okay. So there were other, children, other boys in the ashram, in the hermitage. Okay. And they used to tease him, and they also used to, taunt him. Okay. They would ceaselessly call him by several names, and thus the boy came to be known as Puran Polia. Okay, so they used to constantly, call him names. They used to tease him. They used to taunt him. And of course, they used to call him Puran Polia. However, Puran Polia was always calm and aloof. Okay, now what about the boy? Did he quarrel with his, other boys in the ashram? No. He was always calm and aloof. He used to keep himself away from all these. He learned all that was taught to him by his master. He was a true disciple. Whatever the guru had to teach him, he learned everything. The guru, Saint Eknathji Maharaj, became the boy's object of love and worship. Okay, so the guru became his object. The guru became the object of his love and worship. He adored him. Okay, he sat at his feet always. Okay, so this boy loved his master. He respected his guru, and he always used to sit at his feet. Guru was his focus and the center of existence. Okay, so this guru became his focus and the center of his existence. It felt, it was like, he was living for his guru. When Eknathji was nearing his end, he informed his disciples about it. Okay, so when it was time for Eknathji to leave the world, he informed his disciples about it. One disciple said, "Please don't leave us, Gurudeva. If you leave, who will teach us Srimad Bhagavatam, the Ramayana, and such other texts that you are leaving incomplete?" Okay, so when it was time for the Guru to leave the world, he informed all his disciples, and there was one disciple who asked the Guru, "Now, if you leave the world, if you are leaving us, who is going to teach us Bhagavata, the Ramayana, and all the texts and the lessons that are incomplete?" Eknathji observed the disciples' lack of love for Guru's life. Okay, so through the when he heard this, when Eknathji heard this, he came to understand that this disciple had no love for his guru's life. However, he also forthwith decided to solve the problems of the lessons. Okay, so but he had to do something. The lessons had to be complete. So he knew that he had to solve the problem of the lessons. He called out, "Puran Polia, come to my bedside, my son," said the ailing saint. Eknathji placed his powerful hands on the head of Puran Polia and commanded, "Son, you are the most suitable disciple to complete the lessons that are living unfinished. Do it." Okay, so what did Saint Eknathji do? Saint Eknathji called Puran Polya to his side. He placed his powerful hands on the head of Puran Polya and told him that he was the most suitable disciple to complete whatever he had, left unfinished. And he commanded him to finish it. The other disciples, standing there, were surprised. Adulterated with the love for worldly accomplishments, they were almost unable to see their Guru's greatness and thus obtain his grace. Okay, so all the other disciples were quite surprised because they did not expect the Guru to ask Puran Polya because, they thought him very clumsy, okay, they thought him awkward, so they didn't expect that the Guru would ask Puran Polya to complete, okay, complete whatever the Guru had left unfinished. And these were adulterated with the love for worldly accomplishments, okay. So they were more interested in worldly accomplishments and they were not able to see the greatness of their Guru and therefore obtain his grace. That very moment, Puran Polya, on whom the Guru had chosen to shower his grace, and rightly so, was transformed. Okay, so immediately Puran Polya began to shine with wisdom. As it were, Eknathji attained Samadhi. So immediately after, as soon as he placed his hands on the head of Puran Polya, he was completely transformed. Puran Polya began to shine with wisdom. And with this, Eknathji knew that there was a worthy disciple who would continue, what he had left behind, and he attained Samadhi. In the years that came, the unfit disciples left. So as years passed by, those disciples, who felt, who were unfit, just left. Those who realized the Guru's Shakti, power, remained and learned the balance of their lessons under the tutelage of Puran Polya. Okay, and those disciples who, realized the importance of Guru's Shakti, they remained in the ashram, and whatever was left behind was taught by Puran Polya. Okay, so they learned whatever the balance of their lessons were under the guidance of Puran Polya. Okay. Now, so what is the moral of this lesson? Okay, the moral of the lesson is we should never underestimate anybody. Okay, it is so from this we understand, and it has been rightly, taught by Shrima that without the guidance, without the grace of the Guru, nothing can be achieved. Okay, so children, remember this, very, very true, that without the grace of the Guru, nothing can be achieved. Okay, children, so we finish the lesson here. Okay, go through the lesson and remember, what has been taught today. Okay, children, thank you.